Neil's corner. There's the winner, surely. Sydney FC are going to get the 3 points, and guess who? On debut, Jacob Tratt. Would you credit that?
Well, it didn't look like he was going to get on, and thanks to the, well, in his own words, the all-body cramping of Aaron Calver, he gets on, and what a thumping header.
All right, thanks, Jacob, for joining us on the Regional Football Hub. We certainly appreciate you taking the time to have a chat to us. First up, we just want to check how you're going in isolation and how you're handling no football training in the football suspension at the moment.
Pleasure to be here, boys. Obviously, love getting back to the roots. So I'm actually handling isolation quite well, to be honest. Like, I guess, obviously, you miss the football side of things, but you also get that little bit of break. And I guess that little bit of mental, I guess, rehydration in that sense. But I've still been able to do a little bit of training on the daily. So in that aspect, I'm still pushing to work on aspects of my game to improve. But the overall, I guess, lifestyle is a lot more relaxed, and I feel like I'm enjoying isolation, but looking forward to getting back to the real world and playing again.
Hopefully that comes around soon, given you and the team are in such a good position. So hopefully there's some good news where the A-League can start again, and hopefully the short little breaks are good refresher for you to kick on and hopefully go on and take the title by the finals.
Yeah, definitely. We actually just got a message just before saying that we'll be back in to do a little bit of testing. So that's a positive sign, because for the last, obviously, month and a bit, it's been, I guess there's been a lot of unknown and not much clarity on where we're going forward. So the aspect of actually even just going into the training ground is very beneficial. And over here in WA, we're lucky that we're able to start to get groups of 10 people together. So hopefully we can begin training in smaller groups soon.
Yeah, good.
I know, obviously, I was going to say, Trey, being isolated, do you still have a fair bit of contact with the team and the boys, and via sort of Zoom and that, and with the coach to keep you up and running, and them giving you sort of things to make sure you are doing at home? Or
we get given programs. It's hard at the moment because we're in a different position to a lot of A-League clubs, as we're not getting paid. So a lot of the boys are sort of, obviously you're still doing your own stuff, but sort of protesting against the club, because obviously the boys want to get paid. So I still, me, Hayden and Neil Kilkenny, we've got our own little training regime that we do once every 2-3 days, and then do our own individual stuff in between that. So I feel good going back into the meeting, because we got skin folds and weight testing and all that. And because I've obviously been keeping up my training, I feel good about it. But I think some boys, I guess it could be quite stressful, the situation that we're in. They might lose that motivation to keep training, and the stress of, I don't know, looking after a family or having a mortgage and not being able to pay can be quite stressful, So I'm kind of lucky in the position that I'm in, that I don't have that kind of stress or kids or anything like that. So, I'm just trying to make the most of the opportunity that I'm in, to be honest.
Yeah, good. And obviously, there's probably about half a kilo of your beard that you've grown there that you might have to add into your weight.
Yeah, they reckon it's good for you.
Have to trust you.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you started back in Western, what can you tell us about being in Dubbo as a wee little tackle playing football, and then obviously you moved on to play for Western New South Wales? What do you remember about that period of time, and what challenges there was for you? And obviously, travel's one, especially being in Dubbo, but is there anything else that, challenge-wise, you recall?
I guess I was quite lucky, to be honest. My dad was so helpful in regards to the travelling side of things, and he would work all throughout the week, and it was our little escape together on the weekends to come down and play football. And it never really, for us, seemed like an effort. Like, I loved playing football. Dad loved hanging out with youth, big man, like in the community, like the group that we had. It was just a joy to be playing every weekend. And I think I was quite lucky in the aspect that I had that stability for me going through. But yeah, like, it's obviously very challenging with all the travel and all that kind of stuff. And I know for some families it can be quite difficult. But for me, I don't know, looking back on it, I just enjoyed it so much. And I think we're just lucky that with the group of players that we had, the people around us, the mums, the parents, like the coaches that I had during that period was unbelievable. And it just put me in a good position for when I did the transition to Sydney. I think I learned a lot, and just sort of try to, I don't know, just make the most of any opportunity that I was given, to be honest.
Yeah, great. I mean,
you go on, Fernley.
No, it was a great group of players, and you always were one of the ones first to training, and it was great to have you in the squad back then when you were younger. I think you probably stayed in the area longer than what most players have that have gone on and played A-League, etc. Do you think that was something that helped you in your situation? I know you're close to your mum and your dad and your family, whereas others have had to leave at 14, 15, 16, where you got to stay to essentially finish year 12. For you, was that something that helped you as a player and as a person to then be able to go on and start at Sutherland?
Yeah, I think I remember obviously after the Coffs Harbour, where I got that offer to go down to N-Swiss and join that at, I think it was under 16s or something like that. And I think obviously the best decision for me at the time was to stay with my family and do the long distancing, because it gave me such stability. And I guess the values of my parents is what kept me at that position to keep growing and improving as a player. And I think I've taken what I've developed from that youth and carried that throughout the whole journey, even once I moved away from home, that I was able to make it. And like they say, what did they say? People call it luck, but it's more preparation for opportunity. So whenever there's an opportunity that comes around, you're prepared and you're ready to make the most of it. And I think that's something that I was able to do. And it's just that's literally like the mentality you have to have. You've got to be prepared for any opportunity, because you might only get a couple, and then if you take it, then it'll lead on to the next one and the next one after that. So, I think definitely moving down after everything, after school, after all that, made it a lot easier for me to transition, to be honest.
Do you think, Tratty, that with regional players, it's a lot more of that mental aspect that's the difference in regards to having to make that move? Like, obviously the physical, and there's players that have the physical and technical ability, but it's that mental part to obviously separate from family and get up and make that move. Do you think that's probably the biggest challenge?
Yeah, I think honestly, mental is the biggest aspect to any sport, to be honest. I think talent will get you only so far, say whether you might be able to get to under 16s or under 18s with talent, but it'll be your character and your mental attitude that will be able to hold you there. And I think if you're sort of lost that stability or that structure, it can sort of fall apart a little bit. Like, I know there were so many players that I used to look back at like in the New South Wales Metro team, and I'll be like, they are unbelievable players. Like they're gonna make it, and they're gonna be the players of the future in Australian football. And then I moved down to Sydney, and then I would slowly start overtaking them as a footballer because of my mental attitude towards football, and that's I guess is the biggest part, to be honest, is learning the mental side of being an athlete.
How do you think you developed that?
Sorry, what was that, Fern?
How do you think you developed that when you were young to prepare yourself mentally for that? I mean, you always appeared as a player who was determined to win every challenge or every ball. You know, your willingness to compete was always there. But was that something you had to develop yourself, or was there some other sort of reason for why that happened for you?
I used to have an argument with my family about whether or not if you're born with not talent, talent, but my argument was always, it doesn't matter how talented you are, your mental is what's going to get you to improve and grow. I think, like for me, I'm still learning and growing as a player every day, and there's still challenges mentally for me that I need to overcome, because I'm still learning and still growing. But to keep me where I am and to keep going, I have to have a growth mindset, and I think that's sometimes the best thing for me, because I want to improve, and I'm so driven by that. But it can also be my biggest downfall, because mentally I can beat myself up a lot. So I guess over time you're just going to keep learning and improving and understanding yourself a bit better. And I think my attitude is how can I be best prepared for every training session, and which will allow me to prepare for every game, so that I'm at the best physical and mental capacity to perform. And it's all about, for me, performance. So I just try to, mentally not try to, I probably overthink just a little bit too much. So that's something that I try to balance, so that I'm not hindering my performance too much.
Well, the question I'd like to ask is, obviously you're a defender now, whether it be right back or centre back. Coming up through Western and when you're in Dubbo, did you always play there, or were you a midfielder and transfer back? What was the situation?
During my, when I was younger, I played a little bit of midfield. That's under 12s and stuff like that. And then when I moved down to Western, I obviously transitioned to a centre back. I never played too much right back, did I, big man?
No, mate. Always centre back.
Really? Yeah. Except for once when I went to New South Wales country and was playing up front that time. I don't know why. I ended up scoring 7 goals in 7 games though. So, but
you had no idea what you were doing though.
Yeah, but anyway, I end up figuring out that I'm definitely a centre back, and I think for me, centre back, I still feel like at the moment centre back's a position that I want to master. Obviously, you'll take any game time that you can get. So if they want to play me right back, I'll do that as well. But for me personally, I want to pursue a career as a centre back, to be honest.
Do you think that that drive that you have for scoring goals that you mentioned when you got 7 in 7 games and bragged about it a little there, do you reckon that drives your set-piece specialist? Because I've seen you score plenty of headers, and especially one against Western Sydney Wanderers.
Yeah, I don't know. It's sort of natural for me, to be honest. Yeah, like even from a young age, I used to do headers, but it's funny because even when you come to the top level, there's still boys that don't even want to head the ball. So, like for me, there's no fear, and it's just I'm happy to do it. And there's I don't know some boys that just have never done it from a young age, and they don't like to. So, I guess it's just an ability that is, I guess, a bit of a standout for me, and I'm allowed to apply that in games, and it obviously creates that little bit of difference as me as a defender that can score goals.
I think even when you were 13, 14, it was the timing was important, but you just had a huge desire to, get your head on the ball. You outleap people that were twice the size of you almost. So it was always something that was in you since you were 13, 14. So, it's good. It's good to see that, when you're then playing in the A-League and that attribute's still there. So
yeah,
it's a good part.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's because I was so adamant with my argument with my family that there's no such thing as, I guess, natural ability. It's all like however you train and stuff. But I guess in that aspect, that's kind of been a natural aspect to my game, heading the ball from set pieces. So yeah, I've kind of been in there. It's kind of natural, but then you're also always got to develop at the same time. So yeah, 2 and 2.
What's your best memory from when you were in your youth days in the regional football space?
The
Aside
grand
from
final.
7 goals somehow.
No, the grand final wins for me. When I was in Dubbo, I used to make the grand final every year, and every year we lost. And it wasn't until I joined the Western Mariners that I was able to win 3. Was it?
Yeah, 2 or 3. 3, I think.
Yeah, three grand finals, and yeah, they're just the trophies are the biggest and best moments to look back on, to be honest. Like something that you always wanted to achieve, and the group of players that we had and the people that we had to help us achieve that was just so much rewarding for everyone involved. So they are the happiest memories I have looking back at regional football.
Yeah. What was the biggest challenge when you moved to Sydney?
I get. I don't know. Like I don't know. I felt like I adapted moving to Sydney quite easily. Like I was lucky that Ashley and Maddie were already living up there in Sutherland, so I had that base where I had home, I had my family. I was lucky enough to sign with Sutherland Sharks as soon as I moved down. So as soon as I finished with Western, I had that stepping stone to play in the top division in Sydney, and had a great pathway to grow. But I guess that's what I was saying before, as preparation meets opportunity is what they call luck. So that was what was able to get me that contract there, and then grow from there. So I didn't, maybe adjusting my diet, to be honest. I was obviously quite a poor eater when I was young. And it wasn't until I moved away from home that I started branching out and trying new foods and what would actually benefit me. Because back in the day, I was quite basic, just living off Milos and butter and Vegemite toast. Just the basics, to be honest. So, but yeah, the overall transition was quite easy for me, to be honest.
Cool.
I've seen some drastic results with going vegan, mate. Have you ever given that a crack? Or
Nah, to be honest, you get a bit carried away with the food side of things sometimes. I've kind of, over my time, relaxed it a bit because obviously with my mentality, I'm quite obsessive. So you can get a bit caught up in the food side of things and think like the way people approach food is always different and can be a bit confusing sometimes. So for me, obviously you try new things, but I just do what works best for me. So everyone's going to be a little bit different on what they want to eat and how they want to eat. And you still want to keep that balance of life where you're still enjoying life as well, I believe, to get the best mental space as well. Because if you're too strict and you're too hard, then motivation and energy can sort of dissipate a little bit. So you've got to keep that balance, I believe, to be able to perform, but still enjoy and keep that energy as well.
Well, back into the football side of things, what would you say has been the most defining moment of your career so far where you've gone, right, yep, now I'm a professional?
I remember when Dad said to me, when you sign your first professional contract is when you know you've made it. And I remember signing that at Sydney FC. And that was such a big stepping stone for me to break into that professional environment. But it wasn't the be-all and end-all, because by the end of that year, I couldn't handle the workload and my body broke down and I got glandular fever. And by the end of the year, I was out of contract. So I went back down to the State League, and probably wasn't till towards the back end of that season at Sydney FC that I learned how important recovery and all that kind of stuff is in regards to performing every day at a top level. So I went back to the State League and started applying that mentality in just my sort of day-to-day. And I developed quite a good routine that was able to help me perform physically and mentally. And you sort of you pick up little things here and there and you keep growing. And I was able to obviously get back into Wellington. So, yeah, I guess as a professional, you're always learning, you're always growing, and it might just be little things that you pick up here and there that will put you in stead for the future. But I still believe that you've got to have that mindset where you want to learn and you want to grow, because if you don't have that mentality, then you're either going to stay like that and then slowly drop, or you're not going to be a professional footballer anymore. And you've got to apply that work ethic every day. Otherwise, you'll fall apart, I guess.
Cool.
See there, obviously you speak about defining moments and things, but everything's not going to be sort of going smoothly all the time, and you're obviously going to hit big challenges. And obviously one of those would have been when obviously you just said you fell sick, and then you sort of had to restart again and do it all again. Did you ever have any influential people throughout your career, or people that really helped you? I know from the chat we've had so far, obviously your dad was by your side and working with you a lot, but was there anyone else that sort of helped you get through those, or people that you looked up to throughout your career?
There's so many people that have helped me along my journey, to be honest. Like, obviously I talk about my dad, but all the coaches that I've had throughout my time. Another huge one for me is my mum, because she kind of has the same mentality as me, and our brains, as much as they're our biggest drivers for success, we're kind of so mentally damaging to ourselves at the same time. So during that time where I took a break from Wellington for 8 months was probably the toughest time of my life as a footballer, because the brain, mental health wise, the brain just got the better of me. And if it wasn't for my mum, I probably honestly wouldn't be here anymore. And she helped me come out the other side. And now I'm lucky, obviously, to be back playing professionally again, to be honest, because without her and my family, I probably wouldn't be here. So I'm very lucky, I guess, in that aspect as well.
I mean, it was difficult to see you in that period of time, but it's a huge credit to see where you are now from, the despair that I know you felt when you left Wellington. What do you do now in terms of your football and your mental health, I guess, that's different, that allows you to, keep playing A-League and be in a good place?
Yeah, I think obviously going through it, you pick up little signals or little cues that like it's just the obsession with becoming the best that is also my biggest detriment. And I'm lucky I've got my partner that actually understands how my brain works and sort of recognises those cues that I don't get stuck in that whirlpool of being my own detriment. So there's that aspect, but then there's also just, I guess, going through the experience, you understand, I guess, like, for example, just even like with food and stuff like that, like that mentally drove me insane, because you want to be the best in all aspects, that you apply everything that you think is, I guess, right, and that can create so much confusion. And then little things like sleep, like you wanted to sleep better than everyone else. So when you're laying in bed and you can't sleep, then you start overthinking and you drive yourself a little bit mad. So just being able to relax, knowing that if you don't get a good night's sleep, you're still going to be able to perform the next day. And just little things like that, I think obviously got the better of me at the time, but I was able to, I guess, find my way back through that and still keep the standards that I believe were necessary to be a professional athlete. And you're not going to every day be the best, but you've got to just, I guess, have the mentality to want to improve and be able to perform and learn and grow. That has put me, I guess, back in a position where I'm grateful to be at, to be honest.
Yeah, that's good. That's positive.
Mm.
Well, I've got some images that we were going to go through. There we go. What do you remember from that night?
Yeah, obviously getting Pogba's jersey was one of the big ones. Yeah, that's actually cool to look back on, to be honest. My growing up, Manchester United was always my favourite club. And I remember obviously going over to England with you, Big Man, and doing that tour over there, and that was such an incredible experience. That honestly, that's probably the best. That trip to England was probably the one, looking back, even all the ones that I've done up to this day, it was probably one of my favourites. And to be able to be versing some of the best players in the world is, and I felt quite confident going up against them, to be honest. Like my preparation and all that was really good, and I just felt like I wanted to take them on. So I actually really enjoyed that experience. My first game for Perth, and I thought I played quite well. And yeah, I might actually have to try and find that game and watch it back and have a look at it. But yeah, I totally forgot about that. So yeah, it's pretty amazing achievement and experience to play against one of the biggest clubs in the world, to be honest.
Yeah. So look, we got a question. So I kept your shirt, you gave me. You can say that.
Yeah,
What
Wellington.
do you reckon? What do you reckon Paul Pogba did with his Jacob Tratt shirt? Is it hanging on the wall in his beat?
We were talking about that the other day. We were like, he definitely, as soon as he got back in the locker room, he chucked that straight in the bin. It doesn't matter. I'm grateful to have his shirt.
He probably jumped on his phone to Google Jacob Tratt.
Yeah, right. Nah, I'm gonna get that. Gonna get that photo, the shirt and the photo frame. To be honest, because it is such an amazing achievement to have done that. So, yeah, I'll definitely have that to look back on throughout my career. But that's not to say that I'm still don't have dreams to play at the highest level either. So, yeah, it's an achievement and experience at its best. But I still have bigger goals as well. So,
What's the goals? What's the targets for Jacob?
my biggest goal and the one that I really want to achieve is to play in a World Cup. I know I believe that where I am at the moment and the stuff that I've learned and the way that I've grown and the mentality that I've got, I honestly believe that I can achieve that. And if I don't, then I don't. But that's my goal. And I guess you only really have one life, and I want to achieve some great things as a footballer. So I think the position that I'm at the moment, I'm in a position where if I keep the right attitude and surround myself with the right people, that I can continue to learn and grow and hopefully achieve those dreams. So, yeah, and even just that game against Manchester United, there's some of the best players in the world. So I know that I can do it against the best. So yeah, the only person that's really in my way is me. So I'm going to do everything that I possibly can to try and achieve that.
Excellent.
And I know another thing Andrew was pretty keen to talk about was your FIFA card. What are your thoughts on your stats there?
One of the boys actually showed me that I was a prize to win on FIFA. I'm not mad about it. It's funny, like you look at some of the other boys that might be in your team, and because they're maybe a bit higher rated, I swear their pace is a lot quicker than what they actually are. And I'm like, I'm quicker than you, but my pace is slower on FIFA. So I guess give me a few years and I'll try and increase those stats if I can.
Perfect.
But they're not bad for where they are at the moment, but I want to get them a lot higher, to be honest.
42 shooting when you scored 7 in 7. That's hard to believe.
But that was back in the day, though, to be honest. It's obviously a lot tougher and more competitive now. But there was, I think if you like break it down, there's like heading and stuff like that. And I believe my heading should be a lot higher than what it is. But
we'll run into EA Sports for you, mate.
Yeah, have a word to them, would you?
We will.
Yeah.
I remember when you went back to Sydney when you were still in the youth team, and then you went to Italy with Del Piero. How was that experience for you?
That was a big eye opener. Obviously, I just moved up to Sydney, and I was playing under 20s Sutherland Sharks. So I wasn't even in first grade at Sutherland Sharks, and then I trialled with the Sydney FC youth team. And then 2 days later, I was flying to Italy with the first team. And I guess that's another one of the, lucky / preparation meets opportunity kind of experiences that put me in a position where I was able to, see the life of a professional footballer. And because you're sort of thrown in the deep end, you're just forced to adapt and grow. And like looking back on that now, that's actually pretty crazy what I did back then. But for me, like it didn't seem like too much. Like I was just, all right, and opportunities come. I'm traveling to Italy with the first team, and then obviously Piero is another one of the biggest players in the world, and you don't realise that until you land in Italy and he's there and there's 10, 15,000 fans just wanting to get a photo with him. And that in itself is like, holy crap, like this guy is an icon, a legend, obviously over there. And I think that it started to sort of open your eyes up to the life of a professional footballer. And I remember even just little things like, obviously being from the country, and even at Southo, I'd take my clothes home and wash my own kit. And I was so shocked when they were washing our kits for us. Our kit would be there for us. You know, like all the little things. I'm like, oh, this is unbelievable. I don't have to do anything. So I guess that obviously the roots of even those little things of the values that I guess it's good for me makes me grateful for the way that I guess our life is, and how well we are actually looked after and not take much for granted.
Obviously, there's some big names that we've just sort of gone through and spoken about with Del Piero and Pogba. Do you have a favourite player or the best player that you've ever played with?
Obviously Del Piero, but my favourite is Milos Ninkovic. What we would do, like he helped me grow so much as a footballer. We would do at least five minutes after every session, just working on first touch, the little things. And that's what he said. He said the most important thing as a footballer is your first touch. So I guess having that kind of player and that kind of experience to grow from. And I think you've got to sort of take that initiative as well, in the aspect of you've got some huge players around you, ask them and get the details that they've learned over their experience. And they can help you grow and improve as a player as well. So he taught me little things that was able to take my game to the next level, and I still try to continue to do that. And that's what I'm saying with that mindset. You've got to want to learn and grow all the time. So, and make the most of every little opportunity, whether it is just meeting someone and getting the most out of them as well. So, in that aspect, he would probably be one of the biggest and best that I've played with.
Sweet. So we just 2 questions from me just to finish up. Obviously, your favourite footballer, and I suppose why, or who you've grown up looking up to.
Yeah. All right. My favourite footballer of all time is Cristiano Ronaldo. The biggest reason why, though, is because of his mentality and just the way that he approaches football, his professionalism. I actually aspire to him so much, and I think he's one of the biggest influence as a professional footballer that I've had in my career. I watch so many videos, and it's just, for me, he's a big motivation. So yeah, hands down for me, Cristiano Ronaldo, to be honest.
Love it. We've got a bit of a debate that we're going through about Ronaldo versus Messi, so I won't have to ask you that one. I think you'll have answered that already.
To be honest, my opinion of Ronaldo and Messi would be, if you wanted to win the league, you would probably have Messi, and if you wanted to win a cup, you would have Ronaldo.
Fair.
What key messages would you give to all the young regional players that we have out there? They're going to be listening to Jacob Tratt. What message would you have for them that are aspiring to follow the path that you've travelled?
My biggest thing would honestly just to enjoy football, to be honest. Sometimes it can be that simple, but if you enjoy it, then you're honestly gonna give the most of it. Like energy-wise, you're gonna give more than everybody else. You got to have that mentality of enjoying the learning process as well. You got to want to grow, and it is true. The best players are normally there a little bit early. They do that little bit extra that allows them to just be that little bit ahead of the opposition, and then you can make the growth. But you still got to find that balance that you're not overdoing it as well, and that'll come if you just have the right mindset that you want to learn and improve. You'll start to find your own boundaries. But you'll also, with that mindset, be able to break limitations and continue to grow. So I like the Pele quote where it's all about sacrifice, learning, studying, but most of all, love of what you do. And you got to love it if you want to pursue a career as a professional footballer.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
All right,
that's all we've got. Thanks,
okay,
mate.
Thanks for your time. So we appreciate you being our guest on the Regional Football Hub, and we wish you the best once you get back to proper training and then the rest of the A-League season. And then we certainly hope that you can chase your dream playing overseas and in the World Cup.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, boys, for the chat. And big thank you to you for giving me the opportunity to be where I am today as well.
No worries, mate.
Thanks, Tratty. All the best, mate.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Trad.
See you later. Bye-bye.